Welcome to our space where talking about the inspiring things with inspiring people is what inspires us. Waiting for you here are the infinite possibilities that creation, collaboration, and connection have to offer. A universe where we see everything through rose-tinted spectacles that help us to keep our faith in the power of imagination alive and well. And now, let's talk. Hello everyone. Today we have Momtaz Begum-Hossain. She is a journalist, a color expert, and a color therapist. She has created Hello Hue, her own color manifesto or her own modern color therapy. And we are going to be talking about that. But before, I want you to know that she is a very active color activist, and she has organized in London color talks, color walks, colorful events, and all sort of events or social situations that allows everyone to embrace color from a new, joyous, and full of happiness perspective. She has just published last year this amazing, beautiful book, Hello Rainbow, Finding Happiness in Color, and it's a little Bible packed full of facts, vibrant information, ritual colors, and some new habits for us to learn. I have to say that I am tickled pink to have Momtaz here with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I feel like a child. I feel really happy.
That's a really touching introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Real pleasure to connect with another colour lover.
Yes, I am. In a way, yes, I am. I'm not an expert like you, but I have my own little crazy theories. For example, well, I would like to start asking you a little bit of your background.
Yeah.
When do you think you had your first memory related with the fact that you actually had a very special and personal relationship with color? And maybe if that memory also allowed you to realize, I want to do something with this. Do you have something?
So people often ask me, when did I decide I liked colour? And there wasn't an exact moment, because I feel like I've always had a connection with colour. But there are two moments in my childhood where colour was very specific, had a real effect on me. And one of them is actually quite a negative effect, because I had a yellow bedroom when I was a child, and I had these...
Like my sister.
Yeah, I mean, I love yellow now, but at that stage, yellow became quite a nightmarish colour for me, because when I was about 3 or 4 years old, this is my earliest memories of anything, I had two very vivid nightmares, both based in a yellow room. And then yellow became this quite a fearful thing for me, and I had a real strong aversion to yellow. I didn't like yellow. In one of them, there was a spider that was going to kill me, and then in another one, there was these crabs that were going to do something horrible to me. But the setting was all yellow, like everything around me was yellow. So I stopped liking yellow. But the reverse of that is, a couple of years later, when I was at primary school, we did a workshop and we were making these sweets called peppermint creams. So peppermint creams is quite a sugary, it's like icing sugar. And you put green food colouring and some mint flavouring, and you mix it up and you make these little sweets. And I just remember seeing this white icing sugar and seeing the green and seeing this gorgeous mint, this just beautiful mint colour appear in the bowl, and almost seeing colour appearing, because it was white and then it was green, and I loved it so much. And for me, that was a real moment of, wow, I'm really enjoying colour.
And I'm also getting over my own limitation, because somehow you realize that the association you were having or establishing between yellow and nightmares what could change.
Yeah.
So it also, because I feel one of the things that colors allows you, and you always said that, is in a world that where we have to follow so many rules. One territory where I feel really free is when I have to choose the color of my clothes, my makeup, my the things I want around me, and that gives me a sort of power. I feel like it's a way, it's a place. And in a way, I can be actually very revolutionary if I want. I can be very daring. I can be very out of the box if that's my intention, without hurting or harming anyone else. And that's a power that is very positive.
Yes.
But not all of us use it every day. Do you think that to express yourself in colors somehow you have to have a level of self-knowledge or self-observance? How is it, that relationship between expressing yourself and knowing yourself?
Yeah, it's a really interesting observation and some points you brought up there, Carla. And for me, I'm the same. Like, waking up in the morning, getting out of bed, my main motivation is, what am I going to wear that day?
Exactly.
And it's because it's such an exciting thing to be able to express yourself and to think about, what colours will I wear today? What will I do? And for me, that is me time. You know, we're always talking about how can we have some more time to ourselves? How can we relax and, you know, a bit of form of well-being, have some me time? For me, spending a few moments on yourself, nobody else matters, but taking the time to look in your wardrobe, to look at your clothes wherever they are, and thinking, okay, I'm connecting with this colour. I feel like wearing this. That is such a private moment, and it is a moment for yourself. And I think it's a really important ritual for us all to be doing. I think there is a lot of there can be anxiety around colours, and I think part of that is to do with, there's a lot of rules around colour that we're taught. We're actually taught them from when we're children. We might be told that two colours don't look good together, and there's some sayings like red and green shouldn't be seen, and there's these little things that just happen. And you're good, you've got blue and green.
It's blue and green, red and green.
Yeah, these things happen, and you'll go to a makeup counter and somebody will be like, oh, that lipstick's not for your skin tone, try this, and you start to worry. And for me, I'm trying to, what I do with my book and the philosophies that I share, is to step away from other people's ideals, other people's expectations and their rules, but for you to get in tune with what colours you like. And it's a personal thing, and I just feel like if we spent a bit of time thinking about colour and how it affects us, how it makes us feel, and us understanding certain colours really make me happy, they give me a spirit. Once we all know which colours do that for us, it transforms us, we get that connection, and I genuinely feel that we actually become more happier, more positive people, because when we're in tune with the energies of the colours. And if we don't take the time to do that, we will never know that actually purple could well be our favourite colour, but we've never given it a chance.
Exactly.
So there is a bit of slowing down involved. There's spending time, and it might be through using different accessories, trying things. It might be doing an art class, it might be having flowers in your home and going to a flower store, picking new colours you've not tried before. There's so many ways to have colour in your life. I just find it really exciting and really accessible. So for me, I want anything I do to be accessible to other people, not for it to cost lots of money or spend lots of money on a particular course or buying equipment. I love colour because it's free. It's just there. It's all around us.
It's in nature, everywhere.
In nature, absolutely. We open the curtains, it's sunny day, we see a sunrise, we see a sunset, we see flowers, we see grass. It's all colour, and it all uplifts us.
But it's also, I wonder if, do you think the same? It's also very difficult to be very shy and colorful.
Yeah.
Because colors always, especially if they are bright, they tend to call the attention of everyone and tend to be a very positive attention.
Yeah.
But if you are actually trying to get away from any being in the center of the attention of anyone, you probably will choose neutral,
Yes.
beige colors that doesn't stand out and say, "Here I am, I'm alive, I'm happy." So it's also difficult because you have to have a kind of personality to let colors get you a little bit more and more every time.
Yes.
More and more. So I guess it's also a journey. How this journey has been for you? Have you ever been so colorful as you present today yourself?
I've never had a fear of color, actually, apart from when I was scared of the yellow bedrooms. But me personally, I know how color uplifts me, and so I've always, I feel like color and sharing the positivity behind color is my role in life, is to do that, and is to encourage people to use colour. But I have seen it in many people, and I see it daily, and I completely understand there are so many situations where you do not want to be seen and you want to blend in and it's comfortable, and that's absolutely fine. So I don't believe in saying to everybody they should all dress colourfully, but it's how you use colour in your life. So if you walk around for work, I've had work uniforms when I've had to wear like navy trousers and a navy zip up, but I worked in a food shop and that was the uniform, but there's other ways you can have colour. So if you don't dress colourfully for personal reasons or work reasons, maybe you can enjoy colour in your home. Maybe there's colour in your car seats. Maybe there's colour in the food you're eating. The important thing is to expose yourself to the energies of colour, because if you block yourself away from certain colours, you're not going to experience their benefits. So if you don't have any purple in your life, you don't have any pink in your life, those colours from a therapeutic sense, they have their benefits, they have their powers. Pink is, as an example, it's a really relaxing and nurturing colour.
We chose pink just because we thought it was beautiful. But
it's beautiful. There's some prisons in the US that the cells are painted pink because it calms down the inmates. The inmates, if they're feeling really angry, agitated, they put them in a pink room and it's actually incredibly calming. So there's always properties of colours that exist. And if you cut yourself off, you'll just be cutting yourself off from those emotions, from those feelings, from those benefits.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I approach colour in terms of a balanced diet. In terms of, we hear a lot about getting your 5 or 10 a day vitamins and minerals. And I would say your 5 or 10 a day colours, try and get colours into your life in some form. Even if it is those things that I mentioned, like things in your home, it could be the pen that you carry in your handbag, it could be your mobile phone case, it could be your glasses. Like, it doesn't have to be all out costume, but please have some colour somewhere.
Or even maybe just the awareness of the benefits that colors can bring you is already opening an interesting door and making you more mindfulness about something that we always give for granted. Especially, for example, I come from a tropical country. We never think about colors. Colors are everywhere. From the fruits, a mango, it's a very colorful, a pineapple, like all fruits. The moment you open them, the skin is colorful, but inside is even more colorful. And all the birds that are around, the flowers, it tend to be everything very bright. So we give it for granted. You don't really think about it.
Exactly, but it is this mindfulness, this stopping, this slowing down and appreciating the colours that are around us. And even if you just go for a 5-minute walk around your block, or if you go for a half an hour walk in the park, those are opportunities in nature to see the colours. One of the things that I mention is about green. The human eye can see more shades of green than any other colour. And the way you can see green is just a walk in the park, like a blade of grass, a leaf, a tree, some moss. They're all different shades of green. Even in a leaf, you've got the veins, you've got the outside, it's all different shades. And just taking a moment to see, it's not just green, it's dark green, it's light green, it's like emerald green. Like seeing all these things, that in itself has given you some color energy for the day as well.
You were mentioning recently in a couple of interviews that in both they were asking you what's your favorite color, and you always said, well, it depends of the day, it depends of the year. And it made me reflect a little bit about it, because, for example, you said that during lockdown in 2020, you had your hair green.
Yeah.
And you also made a comment saying it's a good color to balance. But the first thing I thought is the color of the heart chakra, and it's related with healing.
Yeah.
It's a color we normally associate with well-being, with being okay or trying to be okay. But during 2020, I was all about red.
Right.
I was wearing a lot of red. I realized, thinking about that during that year, I bought online a lot of red stuff. It's funny because I was close in my house, so there's not much attention to call, let's say.
Maybe that's why, because the red was feeding that need to be seen and to be like, to actually stand out a bit more, because you're not being allowed to, so the red actually helped you. I know that for so many people it was such a tough time. A lot of people had personal meltdowns and issues, but for me, I got through it because I had this balancing, this healing green, that feeding off that energy meant that I actually got through lockdown, and I didn't have any crying breakdowns or stressy fits or anything. I actually was able to just get through it. And for me, it was feeding off the colours. And that's, people have got different approaches, but for me, that helped me. I know it helped me. But as soon as it was over, I was like, I'm back to all my colours, and now I'm going through, there was a time when I did have red hair for quite a few years. And those were years when I was, I wanted to get more attention, and I wanted to be seen a lot more
explosive.
And I was in my 20s then, so I was much more like, I was finding myself more then. It made sense. I could really understand it. And now I'm going through a rainbow phase because I'm just in such a positive, all the colours, I'm feeding off all the energies, and I'm just loving it. But I feel like, I have had phases where I wanted just the blue hair, and I love that you can express that in different ways. But I think there will be the day that I'll wake up one morning and I no longer want the rainbow hair. I probably will move into another direction, but there's so many factors in our life. It could be, health issues, work stress, partner stress. These different things are affecting us, and colours will help us with that. So that's what that part of colour therapy is about, that at certain times we need certain colours. And so in terms of the green being the colour of the heart, there are certain times when we need that colour. There's certain times where we have to really communicate with somebody, and blue is the colour of communication. So if we have more blue at that time, it can really help us. And so that feeds into, we're drawn to a colour, it becomes our favourite colour. So I think it's very rare that one person has one favourite colour forever. I really feel that there's just, it's just phases. We move through different times in our life. We move through different attractions to colour as well. But one of the things I wanted to do in the book is get people thinking about that. So I ask in the very beginning, what's your favourite colour? And I ask at the end, what's your favourite colour now? Once you've done the journey of learning about colour and seeing if it's changed.
Yeah, definitely. And there are colors, for example, that become more protagonist in different moments of your life, but there's always a tendency, because, for example, in my case, I have always been about the brightness of the color, more than the color in itself. From a chromatic point of view, I don't like the aspect of the same color that has less luminosity. I like the one that have the more luminosity. So that has never changed, and I think it won't change.
Sure.
Even when I wear black, which I love it, I like it. I like to treat black as a color. If you put black next to a very bright color, the black, instead of being sad, it gives itself a spirit to the other color.
Mhm.
By contrast, both become very special. If you wear black and you don't have makeup, it's not the same as a black coat with red lips. It just make everything different.
And that's interesting. The thing with colours is colours are amazing on their own, but as soon as you put two colours together, that's when all the singing happens.
That's where the story begins.
It really is about that connection. And that's part of an individual colour journey as well, to learn that if you're starting to get into colours, you're starting to like individual colours, but then the pairing is an amazing thing.
Yes, it's all about the contrast, the harmony, the whatever it happened. But I wanted to ask you, because in another interview you were commenting that there is a thing as chromatic phobia and people that is scared about colors, and you were also mentioning that in this country, in the British culture, tend to be very shy about the use of color. And I personally have always related that shyness with the same that happened with emotions. The more able you are to express yourself in colors, the more able I think you are also to express yourself through emotions. It's like the same, but in different aspects of life. The more, for example, people that is really daring, clashing colors, I feel like they don't dare conflict as much as the people that avoid any, because it is a visual expression of a way you see things. So when you don't have that feeling of red with purple, maybe that's too much, it's probably because you also are not going to be shy if you have to express your opinion in a room and said something that another person maybe won't like. And conflict doesn't have to be always negative. It's just a way to position, to negotiate, and I don't know if you think that's true.
I think that's an amazing observation. I think it's fully true. I've not heard somebody else express it in that way, but I think it's spot on. I think it's really spot on that it does tell us a bit about our wider personalities and how we interact with people, definitely. But I think in the UK, there's just such a long ingrained culture that runs in that way of being slightly fearful of how people perceive us and how things should be, and this sort of rigidness, and then it's inflated further by the kind of marketing and the media and the things that we see.
Corporative mentality.
There's just
also
all of that at play. And one of the things that really I find really upsetting is that there was a time when people really decorated their homes and they weren't afraid of colour, and they would have, sort of like, if you think of the 60s and 70s, like vibrant wallpapers and interesting furniture. But there became this real focus on everyone needs to buy a house, and once they've bought it, it's all about the property value, and the value is only going to be high if your house is all white. And then if you paint it a colour, it's probably going to lose value. And that has been so ingrained in people's minds that that's made them fearful of decorating their homes or doing anything out of the norm. And unfortunately, that has fed through into other aspects of our culture as well, that we're at a stage where we've been stopped having that self-expression because we're just so fearful of like, I don't want to ruin my future investment. And so it's come down to this money thing, which I think is awful because it's kind of drained us of our creativity and our personality. But we're just fed that in the news every day, like constantly fed. And if you're constantly fed things through advertising or the media, it does affect culture. And I think that's the current state. So there was a time when we were a bit more open. I think in terms of the fashion side of things are getting better. There's definitely more availability now than ever of colourful clothing, of colourful accessories. You can choose to ignore them if you want, but they're there if you want them. And I love that. I love that now. It used to be I could go into a high street shop and from the doorway, I can scan and see there's no colours in here. There's no point me walking in there. But now I'm starting to see it, and we are getting more confident, and it will take time. But I think if we start with potentially ourselves, we can bring it into our home and other things. So I don't think we're beyond saving. I don't think we'll ever be as colourful as, say, South American countries, Central American countries, Africa, Asia, where colour is as a whole new level. It's like if you're on a Sunday in London in particular and you see it's like maybe like a Nigerian community going to church on a Sunday, they'll always have the most amazing colourful like African print, wax print fabric outfits, beautiful like satins and silks, and for them Sunday best is very much the vibrant colour. But if you go to a British church, the Sunday best is like a black and white, and it's a formal. So there's a lot of cultural connections, and I touch very briefly on culture in the book as well. I wanted to mention a bit of culture in there because it's so fascinating how colour is so different. I mean, I just mentioned the Western church, the Sunday best there, and it's similar to funerals because when I went to Guatemala, and I've got a little section there when I went to Guatemala, I remember being just travelling through the country, and on the horizon I could see all these colours, and I was like, what are all these colours? And it ended up being the graveyards. The graveyards there were just colourful. Every grave was a different colour, be a yellow grave, a blue grave, a green grave. It's a colourful place. But then you come to a graveyard in the UK and it's the complete opposite.
Yeah. But also the skies are green, the light is more gentle. I have to say this because it's such a fun thing for me. I have had so many situations when I have to meet someone and they said to you, I have a yellow scarf, and you are looking for this yellow scarf, and when you see the scarf, that's not yellow, that's mustard, and it's like the browniest of monsters, like, or I remember Toby said to me once, I have these pink trousers, and I was, yes, wear them. That's not pink, that's guava. It's always, it's never the color as, I also have to say, there's no wrong or right, it's just the way you imagine it, you imagine the color, because of your own approximation of color. If you tell me yellow, I imagine that yellow. Or that yellow. I don't think of mustard or dark light brown. No, that's light brown. That's not yellow for me. But talking about a bit of history, let's say, in which moment do you think we as a Western world have lost touch with the power that colors have to rebalance our health? For example, one of the beautiful things you get through Ayurvedic meditation or any kind of meditation that works with chakras is that, for example, the other day I was doing a whole balancing, so we were dedicating a day to each one, and then the last day all of them together. But I remember when the lady that was guiding the meditation, my good friend Maria Elena, when she said, breathe in red, breathe out red, breathe in. I thought it was so lovely because sometimes some minds are very good at visualizing, others can't. So it can be very frustrated if you cannot see the color with your eyes closed. But the word is always available, and the word brings the meaning, and the meaning's the sensation, and the sensation the color, and it's just a whole journey that one thing leads to the other. It's just so amazing. And thinking that you can breathe in a color and breathe out the same color is just so therapeutic. therapeutic.
Absolutely.
Therapeutic. I never said
It's
that word
absolutely.
correctly.
I mean, it is incredibly. And I do have a little section on there on color breathing.
Yes.
We call it color breathing, and actually breathing in different colors has different therapeutic effects
I
on
read
us.
that, and I was thinking about exactly, and I think Buddhism sees a healthy body. It's a rainbow.
Yeah, they have this idea of rainbow body.
Exactly.
Absolutely, and that's kind of like one of the latter stages before you actually reach, sort of full contentment and nirvana. But in terms of it's again, as I was saying before, like color is free. So actually, we can get the benefits of color through visualization, and you don't actually physically need to see colour, because people who are partially sighted or even blind as well, they might not necessarily see colours, but they can still feel the energies of the colours. And touch is very important as well. If you can
That's
touch things,
also there.
that's something you can feel as well. But actually, these different colours. So I've mentioned the idea of kind of colour energies, and a red colour will give you this whole uplifting, very it's
invigorating.
Strong, absolutely. So it's very good for if you're tired or lethargic, or you need to sort of wake up, then red is perfect. So any kind of like red energy, red energizing activities in the morning.
It's actually the same as cinnamon. I see red, I feel, I smell cinnamon. It's just the same invigorating feeling, but exactly. Also it's very earthy, because the red has also that the purple elevates you, makes you float. To float,
well,
feel
like, red soil as well. Is there's a lot of places where you get that red soil, so it is an earthy colour. It's that red brown colour. You need the red to get the brown. The colours. So it is there, and so if you pick whatever colour it is, it will have an effect on you, how you feel the rest of that day. Sending colours through your body is incredibly powerful, and it's similar to if one finds meditation hard. Meditation, you're on average clearing your head and you're having an emptiness. The colours actually give you something to focus on, so it's actually a slightly easier meditation. But you can use props and things to help you. If you've got like a red vase of flowers in the room, you could look at that before you close your eyes and visualise that. But generally speaking, thinking of red things, if you can't visualise red, but you can think of the cinnamon or something else that reminds you of memory, then that will also help you.
Exactly. Another beautiful ritual that I discovered with your book, and I was like, how did I didn't know this? Is I do moon water every time the moon is full, right. But I never knew that you could do sun water.
Yes.
Sun water.
So I refer to it as solar powered water.
Exactly. Can you explain us a little bit? How did you do you apply that? How do you do it? And what cultures work with that?
So this is a very classic colour therapy treatment, actually. So colour therapists will use this with their clients, and there's something that everyone can try at home. So the idea is you actually need some glass bottles, and the colour of the glass,
like this, but in different colour.
Yeah, so green bottle would be good. So we'll take the example of a blue bottle. So if you put water, normal tap water, bottled water, whatever you drink, into a blue glass bottle, and you pop that on your windowsill, and for the course of the day it will gather the sun rays. So on a very summer's day, hot sunny day, maybe 3 hours would be enough. Perhaps in the winter you need to leave it out there all day, and that the sun rays will actually charge up the water with because it's the blue glass reflecting, that will actually charge up with the blue energy. So you can pop that in your fridge, drink it, and because it's blue water and blue is calming and cooling, it's a really good water to drink in the evenings. You wouldn't necessarily, we talked about red being this energizing, great for the mornings. You wouldn't really want to drink water out of a red bottle that had been solar charged, because if you drink that before bed, you'd be feeling a bit kind of energized and you might have difficulty sleeping. But a blue bottle or a purple bottle would help you later in the day. So you're not actually, the water's no different. It's just normal water, but just with that sun energy and the color energy combining just gives this water some extra properties. And as I say, invest in the bottles, or even if it's a glass, do cover it with something. And also the other thing is, if you're going to do 3 bottles in one day, just make sure there's no shadow from one bottle on the other, because you want to keep it fully clear, fully in the sunlight,
Okay.
to get the full effects of it. But yeah, it's something that's used in colour therapy. So that water can actually be used as a healing treatment on somebody to drink water from these solar charged, these coloured waters. And also in colour therapy, we actually apply coloured lights directly to the body. We can actually use coloured silk scarves, so the naturalness of the silk. So there's different ways that we actually apply colour to people who have ailments or they're healing from a particular scenario. But the key thing is, what I've always found interesting is that it's not recognised. Colour isn't recognised in the kind of health system in the West. And very recently, I interviewed two people who have ADHD. So these are mental health related conditions. And both of them find that colour really helps them. Like, they are people who really enjoy being around colour, and if they're feeling stressed or anxious, or they're feeling a bit like they can't sort of focus, they can look at colour and it can help them. And yet no doctors or health specialists have ever said to them, you should use any form of colour therapy treatment.
They have discovered that themselves?
Exactly, they've discovered it themselves. But for me, I hear that story and I think, well, yeah, because there is a lot of benefits and positivity in colour. And as you say, the Ayurvedic and colour it's always been that way.
Yeah.
I have a big emphasis on colour and light. Chinese traditional medicine also has connection with colour therapy, and a lot of the ancient civilizations, there's lots of evidence that colour was revered. The importance of colour was so just accepted. But I think with all sorts of Western medication, it's always been about kind of trampling out the others and the other cultures and just making this the one that we observe. So I think they have eradicated colour therapy, but they've also eradicated various other therapies and things as well. So I think the people who actually understand and appreciate complementary therapies and alternative therapies are the ones who can actually speak up about things like colour therapy. But colour therapy works with aromatherapy, it works with Reiki, it works in massage, it actually combines with music therapy, the connection of colour and so many other things. There's a real relationship between them.
When did you realize that you wanted to write this book? Because I understand that you actually sat down and did it during lockdown.
Yeah, so I'd been wanting to write a book about colour for some time, and it'd been formulating, because I've always been a colour lover, like first and foremost, and every single day of the week, and you possibly get this as well, but I'll leave the house and somebody will just comment, I love your colours, your
that
colours
makes you
are
feel
so
great.
Good. Absolutely, really find it very, very uplifting. And I was getting all these compliments all the time, and for me it got to a point where I thought, I'm obviously making people happy, but rather than me just walking down the street, and that my life is bigger than that, so I could just spend my life just doing that, dressing up and walking around, but what more could I give? So I thought, actually, I've got a real understanding and connection with colour, and I do see how it can help people. So if I did something with that, perhaps if I actually committed my life to sharing the power of colour, then that's what would be a good thing that I would feel happy that I had accomplished in my life. Just telling people how great colour is and them giving it a chance, for me, that's a really great thing. And so one way I thought I could do this was a book, because I was thinking, actually, I could put all my ideas, my philosophies, my theories down. And so when it was lockdown and we had that first March 2020 lockdown, and my other work had been cancelled, and I just thought, actually, this is a good time to spend getting it down. So I actually pitched it to a publisher then, and I wrote them, gave my plans on what I'd like to do. And they were actually on furlough, so I got the out of office saying, there's no staff here. But when the publisher came back to work in July, as a lot of people obviously weren't working for a good few months, she came back and she loved the idea. And I know immediately she felt that we definitely need colour, we need some uplifting, we need some positive energy right now. So she was very happy with my idea. And then she gave me a few months to write it. And those months happened to be like all lockdown. So when it was Christmas, the Christmas where we couldn't go out, we couldn't see friends or family, that solid sort of 3 months, I just sat down and wrote it, and I just got everything out, and just
that was
put
a
it
very
all
positive
out.
way to
Yeah,
invest your
it was,
time.
absolutely, and the way it kind of worked out, that's what gave me my focus and kept me going, having a project like this.
And it looks like a great continuation from what you did before. You had a memoir,
it's travel
book, and another
crafts
one
as well. So both of those elements come into, these are all kind of in things. I mean, I'm a very creative person. I think if you're an artist or a creative or designer, you use a lot more colours than the average person anyway. You're always having colours in your life, and so I think colour came into my life through that as well, because I'm always a maker and I'm doing things, like I'm sewing things or I'm making something, that those colours kind of come through. But it is, I think a lot of people, when I started writing it, they thought it might be like a book about like styling, because I love fashion, so a lot of people assumed I was going to do a book about saying, oh, you should wear this colour with this colour, and this suits this suits this, but it's actually very much the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's the opposite
it's
of that.
It's really about not being fixated by what you've heard in the past. It's about you and tuning in with yourself. It's very much a personal journey as you go through this book. There's what I call rainbow rituals. So the thing like the making the solar powered water, going for walks and looking for colour.
Till now, what kind of comments have you had, or the interest of people interviewing you, or press, or what do you feel is happening to this book? Because the moment you release something, it's not yours anymore. And I'm curious about what's the life in itself that this book is having right now.
I think what has been really positive for me is for the people that have said to me that they are gonna start looking at colour in a different way for them. So I've got countless sort of messages from people who've said, actually, I hadn't thought of that, or I hadn't tried that, or I want to do this. I know some people have done the activities in the book as well. There's one activity where I recommend painting one line a day, and this line represents how you're feeling and the colour you're feeling. So if you're having a day where you're feeling incredibly like positive and full of energy, perhaps you're painting a line that is like red or orange or yellow, it's very vibrant. And perhaps another day you're not feeling great, you're ill in bed all day, you might paint a grey line, but these colours represent how we're feeling. And I know a few people have done that, and they've shown me the picture of the canvas they've created, and once they've created this canvas over 30 days, like 30 lines, and looking back at their emotions for that month and realising,
it's like a visual diary.
You can start to make sort of changes. But there's other people just saying they're going to give colour a chance, or they're going to they have got some colourful things, they've just forgotten they owned them. They're going to go back and get them out. So that's been really wonderful for me. And actually, like I've started doing this thing where because people stop me in the street all the time, and they tell me that they love my colours, so I've started like literally giving out my business card to people and saying, well, if you love colour, you might like my book as well. And actually I've had a couple of people who I know have then gone and bought the book, and they've said to me, I actually really like this. So I thought, rather than me just saying thank you, like I can actually
establish a networking.
Exactly. But I've said in the back of the book, is the last page, I've actually said a big thank you to everybody who's ever complimented me, because it was all those compliments that made me think, actually there's more to this than I can help people, I can make them happier, I can give them something positive in life, and it's all through colour. And I think if those people hadn't shown me that, I may never have thought, this is what I want to do. I'm going to become a modern colour therapist. I'm going to write my theory. I'm going to write a book. If those people, everyday normal people, hadn't stopped me in the street and said they like my colours, I probably wouldn't have thought of it.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to those people who've shown me that colour has helped them.
And that's the best way to know that something is actually having its own life and working itself out. And for example, cultural actions or actions that allow you to create community as well. For example, I'm thinking of that event you had, Casa Chromatic. It was like an exhibition with many artists involved. Tell me about that kind of scene. How do you
Yeah.
see that growing in London? And for example, for Casa Chromatic,
Yeah.
was it you the organizer?
So I'm part of a group called the London Colour Walk. And it's literally a monthly meetup of people who like wearing colourful clothes. That's really like the crux of it.
Visually, it's
really
stunning.
Absolutely. So this actually started out with about 3 or 4 people who used to meet up, and I joined. So I think it's been going five years now, and I joined after the first year. So I've been with them for about 4 years now. And on average, we used to get about 15 to 20 people, a gathering, monthly gathering, of literally just getting together, being, we do it at Old Spitalfields Market. Old Spitalfields Market is a market which is quite a creative market. There's a lot of antique stalls, there's maker designers. So one of the reasons of having it in the market is to support those designers, to actually bring them more interest rather than doing it on just like a random high street, but actually going to a place like that. And each month people will see us and they'll be like, oh, what's going on here? And then you speak to them, oh, we're people that like wearing colourful clothing. And then they start to say, oh, I like wearing colour. And they might come the following month, and then it might grow and the word spreads. And, last month we had 80 people.
Wow.
And that's the most we've ever had. So on average 20, it's suddenly gone to 80 people who are coming to this monthly gathering of literally, and, it's the nicest
interaction.
thing. Exactly, because you can strike a conversation. Oh, I really like your jacket. Where did you get your hat? And it brings people away from the sort of digital world into a space. But this idea,
also networking.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
very good.
really good. So I've met lots of people through there. Made new friends, all creatives, and it was a couple of people there who actually set up this art exhibition which is on in London called Casa Chromatic, House of Charismatic Colours, and it's 33 artists who've literally recreated a colourful home, and it's just a crazy.
Sorry, that
exhibition.
was in a hospital.
Yeah, and what's interesting, so there's a hospital, St Pancras Hospital. It has an art gallery within the hospital, which I love because it's taking art to just everyday people. So rather
and
than
the people
going,
that more needs that exposure.
Yeah, so if you're going to the hospital with a patient and you've got all this art around you, I mean, how wonderful is that? Rather than having to go into a gallery and then it's like, oh, I'm in an art gallery, which can be fearful for people. But this idea of the accessibility, the making the art accessible for everybody. But yeah, the colour walk, there was one in Australia, Victoria, I think last month. There's been one in Tasmania, there's one in Kent, there's one.
But it's part of the same group?
Well, the idea is that we want anyone to be able to do this. So wherever you are in the world, we're just the kind of inspiration that you could start your own colour walk, your own get-together of colourful, colour lovers, colourful people. So I have had people, a lot of people have come from different parts of the UK have come and they've said, I'm the only colourful person, there's no other colourful people around me. But I believe that wherever you are in the world, there would be colour lovers. And this is the way that you can reach out. You can put a few social media posts, you can put some posters up, the words will spread, and you probably will start to gather people together. And something as simple as meeting up, chatting, having a coffee, having a few photos taken, enjoying, reveling in the dressing up. It does build communities and it gives people purpose. There are people in the group who, in the older category, there's at least 3 people in their 80s. That these people come to the event. Yeah. But we've had people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, colour is all ages, it's all generations. There's no one that colour isn't for, it's for everybody.
That's actually one of the beauty of color, that it doesn't matter. It goes beyond age, race, 100%. Cultural background. It's really, really an unifying way of approaching anything, really. Exactly. And these wonderful ideas come out of getting together, like for example the exhibition.
But it's really interesting that you say that, because a couple of weeks ago I was stuck outside a train station. The trains weren't running, so we were waiting for 20 minutes for the train station to open. And I was the only girl. I was in a crowd of what I would say is 100 football fans. It's just all men, all football fans, all stuck in this like thing. And been there for a little while. They're doing all their football chants. They're doing all their team chants and everything. And the gentleman next to me turned around and said to me, "Oh, I really like your jacket." And I was wearing this like rainbow sequin jacket. It's a real like crazy jacket. And then his friend was like, "Oh, I really like your jacket as well." And for the next 15 minutes, we just had a conversation about colour. And they were both saying to me they love colour. They wish they could find more colour in men's clothing. One of them said to me he's actually wearing lilac trainers. They're women's trainers, but he couldn't find colour in men's trainers, so he bought women's trainers. And it was the most wonderful connection, because I wouldn't normally speak to football fans and they wouldn't normally speak to this really colourful, strange looking girl. But it was the colour. Colour was the only thing that we found a connection with.
And it's easy to talk. Yeah. It's not really, it doesn't need to be super intimate. It's just a conversation that can be easy, like small talk, but a little bit more than just small talk.
Because it's you can get quite personal with it, and people have opinions.
You can,
but there's not many things that are so neutral. It's not political. It's not gonna upset anybody. There's few topics that you can have that can do that.
And even if it's not religious, it could also link to memories or a little bit of culture knowledge. For example, that festival in India. Have you ever been in a Holi festival?
Oh, definitely like to go, but I've only seen it in this country, not in India itself.
Exactly. but one of the things I found fascinating is that like the World Color Day, it's also during spring, when the spring begins, and it's actually originally what they celebrate is fire, but because fire is so dangerous or difficult to manage, it evolved to this color explosion. And if you think about it, fire symbolize that energy that makes you to wanted to do things. It's that sort of energy that lights you up, makes you shine, and makes you do whatever you think is you need to do in this life. And color have more or less the same. It exists for the same reason, or allows you to express yourself, to connect with the others, to find ways to create communication. I think it's just very beautiful that sort of religious festival is so connected with messiness and color.
Exactly, literally festival colours. I mean, that's always kind of the translation of it is Holi festival colours. I mean, that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And but then I also love what really I find so interesting is that when it comes to festivals and parties, we do let go. So if you think of the UK, we've talked a bit about how it's a bit more formal, a bit more neutral. You'll have chromophobia, fear of colour. But yet when it comes to Christmas, I mean, we've got tinsel, we've got colourful trees, we've got colourful baubles, and people love the lights and all the decorations. And so for me, it's like the festivities and the celebrations is the way that we can sometimes give us the excuse and acceptance to be colourful. The rest of the year could well be a neutral home, but at Christmas it all goes it's like a whole crazy party.
It's like somehow people were expecting excuses from the formal, conventional parameters to allow themselves to fully enjoy something that they actually enjoy all the time.
And I feel like, some of those parameters, they don't need to be there, because it's like in a workplace. Just this week I actually met somebody who was saying she has to wear navy at work. It's a mostly male office, and it's it's just like if she wore colour, she'd be standing out too much. She's already just the woman there, and she doesn't want to be even more attention. But I feel like those cultures, it comes from the top. They just need to relax. They need to just say to people it's okay to encourage more colour. So it would just make life better for everybody. When I see examples like that, I always think it's just unnecessary. There's no reason it needs to be so formal. There's a place for formality in certain situations, but I've always felt that with the clothing side of things, it just doesn't
And
need to
sometimes maybe if she allowed herself to express herself in a more colorful way, maybe even the guys around her feel more comfortable doing the same. Because all it takes is one person to there for many to follow, and
100%.
it always happens. So if I'm the girl and I'm more inclined to actually love colors because of marketing, because of whatever reason they're out there, embrace it, but in a way that is also inviting others to do the same.
Definitely.
I think it's actually, and do you have one-to-one sessions? For example, do you work with clients that you guide them through what kind of?
Yes, at the minute I'm doing more like group workshops and actually teaching the colour therapy courses. So some of them are actually like lunchtime courses, which could be for like organisations, or they're actually like an event type setup where it's like 3-4 hours, and there'll always be some form of like creative activity as well. So as well as learning, doing that. But I haven't done any one-to-ones just yet. I wouldn't rule it out for the future, but for now I'm just kind of doing more group setups for events and
maybe you can be the first
but,
color coach. Now
there's a coach for everything, isn't there?
Exactly. You could be
but I think the idea is just to encourage. Like I'm very I don't like to say to people that you have to do this, or telling people that they must, or I don't like those sort of approaches, but it's more like try this or have a go, or be open about this and give people options. So I really want people to experience for themselves, but I'm enjoying sharing my own philosophy that I've got, which is this 7-point manifesto. Like try these approaches to colour and see how that makes you feel, because I think it can be like transformative, like can transform. And my honest general approach is that I genuinely feel that if we were more in touch with colour, all of us, then this idea of the world would be a happier place. Like I believe that. Like I know it sounds, it's like a thing, it's like a flippant comment, and there's a lot of issues, but I feel like the general happiness levels would be like just more appreciative of life and just more appreciative of experiences by being in tune with colour.
And you were mentioning also in your book that one of the reasons you have developed your own theory, modern color theory, and your own manifesto is because most of color theories were created by men, white men, in a very rigorous way. So would you be happy to go through the seven steps of your own manifesto? Well, why 7?
So it started because of the 7 colours of the rainbow. So they were just very clean, a very clean organising way to organise. The idea of this sort of having chakras.
It's also the number of chakras, right?
Yeah. So 7 is is a key number. So for me, it was very much like the philosophies that exist about colour at the minute were very like formal. And so if you take the colour wheel as an example, both of you are familiar with the colour wheel, and it basically says to you, red, and you've got oranges here, it looks like a rainbow, and it will say to you, orange and blue, they complement each other, and these colours are complementary, these are secondary. And for me, that's saying the rules about like you've got to put these colours together, whereas I think the more feminine approach to colour is actually more intuition, more feeling, more emotion. And so it's actually about approaching colour through the mood and the emotion side rather than the science side. And that's why it's a different approach to colour, because it's not the formal sort of masculine approach. It's actually a more it's feminine, sensitive.
It's less vertical also, and less
and it's like
linear.
It's fluid and it's flexible, and it's how for me that's a much more just realistic way, and one that we can actually relate to and we can use in our life. So there's 7 ways, they're in the book. I'll give you a couple of them. So one of them is literally like opening the door and welcoming colour into your life. So that is actually if you have any sort of blockage and it's kind of like, well, I don't really wear grey, or I don't have orange in my home, or it's kind of actually being open. It's forgetting about your fears. It's actually not worrying about what's happened in the past. If you had an aversion to a certain colour, or you've got memories of certain colours, it's leaving that behind and just saying it out. I am open to colour, and I am open to it coming into my life and actually experiencing it. So it's a mindset change. It's actually just saying, yes, I am. And as soon as you're open to anything, that's when, magic starts to happen and things happen. But if you go into anything with a closed, like I'm not really that interested, but if you say you're open to something, you will appreciate it. So it's that mindset change. Another one is I call it forging a friendship with colour. And it's just like, it's literally treating colour like a friend. How can this colour help you? Like, what is it that you can kind of like give each other? And it's like getting to know new friends, new colours. So building a relationship takes time. And this idea we talked about, 1 colour or 2 colours. What happens if you put 2 colours together? So it's spending that time and getting to know your body, how it makes you feel, how things in your home can make you feel. The food you're eating, are your meals colourful enough? Like, and trying to swap in things, change things.
That's very interesting. The chapter you sorry to interrupt you, but that when you were talking about the colors of food, I realized how much we are used to associate colors with flavors or flavors with shades. Yeah. For example, you were mentioning that dinner that was an experiment, and when people realized that the meat they were having was blue, they felt horrible. They had a stomach ache. And it's true, because you associate some healthy, tasty flavors with some colors, and if someone changed you that,
blue is normally, it's like when food is moldy. So if cheese has gone moldy or something's old in the fridge, it gets the blue first. So in this experiment, some meat was actually dyed blue, but the lights were dark, so they couldn't see they were eating blue meat. So they're eating this meat, it tastes fine, but as soon as they saw the colour of it, their body reacted. And it was such an interesting way to see how colour does that. It connects in our brain. There's something else.
The information, a lot of information that we are giving for granted is actually being processed in seconds when they realize that the actual meat they were having that was delicious was blue.
And all of a sudden, actually physically thinking, I need to go to the toilet, I suddenly don't feel well. Just from a colour, it just goes to show what effects colour actually has on us. And it's like, even the tea you're drinking, the coffee you're drinking, you can judge it, like, is it too dark? Like the level of milkiness that you like. You can choose not to drink something because it's too dark for you, or it's too light for you. And that's all based on colour. You haven't even tasted it, you haven't smelt it, but the colour is such an intuitive thing. It's inbuilt in us. It's like, a baby will be born, and okay, babies will get burnt, of course, but they know instinctively not to go near fire. They just know that glow, the orange glow. We know. We may have never seen any fire in our life, but we actually know that
some of us are really.
But it is there. It's actually in there that we know that is a glow. If you saw an orange glow, you would automatically think heat, fire, flame.
Be careful.
Yeah, you might feel it as well, but that will spark something in a similar way that if you open the curtains and it's a grey sky, it's like you've already made your mind up about the day. You're like, oh, it's a grey day today. Might have changed my plans, But if you saw the blue sky, it's just like you don't even. It's not that anyone's ever said to you, blue sky means this, grey sky means that. It's just intuitive. You just automatically, again, you're born with these real natural instincts about colour, and it's only when we break it down and realise. But otherwise, it's normality, and it's good that it's normality. I think a lot of things should be, but I also think let's stop and appreciate too.
And change sometimes for our own benefit. Some dynamics with colors. I think it's all you suggest all the time.
Yeah.
But also there's a wonderful thing about language. We tend to talk in such a metaphorical way, and associating color with expressions and with the feelings is so easy, as out of the blue, or green of envy, or all these things that, especially in English, are really, really common.
So true.
So in a way, it's culture that doesn't give too much attention to color in their real expression in everyday life, but in the language, it's very, very present. You have lots of idioms and expressions.
It's funny, isn't it? It's so true. And they're just part of our language and the way we talk, but there is a meaning behind them all.
Do you think envy is really green? What do you think about green and envy, please?
Yeah, I know, but then it's like if you look at something like the character of the Incredible Hulk, who gets incredibly angry and goes green, and it's like, that's not such an envy thing, but it's like it's more the symbolism that we can represent things through colour. We can, people who think colours don't affect your emotions, this is the evidence, it actually does.
Yeah.
It does have an effect on us. But a lot of them are, they do have true, like seeing red, that was...
What's your favourite?
Of the sayings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure actually. I mean, things like, I say, like, like people say like white as snow, or these things, like they have these things. But I just like them. I like referencing. I like hearing people use them. I think it's just a really nice thing. But I'm quite in tune with anything to do with colour. So if I see it or I hear it or I spark something in me, and it is interesting, isn't it, that in the English language we have them, and yet we still have this other side of being fearful of colour. But we should talk about these things more and express them with people. But yeah, green of envy is definitely an interesting one, but I think you can look at folklore and stories and fairy tales and you'll find examples of these things.
The origin of that. Yeah. And out of the blue is beautiful because always it makes you feel like from the sky something comes out.
Isn't that lovely? It's really lovely. Yeah.
And how did they say? Tickle pink,
yeah.
Tickle pink.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's a nice saying. Positive.
And soon, I think you're going to be in Hamburg, in Germany. Tell me, what are your plans there, over there?
So I'm delivering an art and colour therapy workshop, which is part of a wider 4-day wellbeing event called Reboot, and it's literally about re-energising and simply getting out of the post-lockdown COVID time. People are just a chance to actually re-energise, reconnect, reboot your, the different aspects of your life. So it's all a series of 4 days of wellbeing events and activities, all sorts of workshops. There's hypnotherapy, there's yoga, there's a breathing work, and I'm doing a colour and art therapy session. And colour and art therapy are very linked. So we'll be doing some practical painting work, but very much guided in a kind of art flow, guided by your sort of attraction to certain colours, sort of playing with colour, and that's something that I encourage everyone to do. I think something like painting is such a liberating thing. You don't ever have to be painting something. You don't have to be doing a still life or a person or anything like that. Just playing with colour.
Just express.
It's really nice, and it's a really great way to step away from digital.
And from rationals, from so much rationality and just flow a little bit with your emotions.
Some people do journaling and they like to do words, and but I think trying a visual exercise is very good for us as well.
I know you love all colors, but are there colors you actually don't like much?
Well, I don't really go near the neutrals, I have to say. So you won't find any black or grey or navy in my wardrobe. I feel like there's no place for them. I'd much rather have, I mean, you're wearing green trousers now. It's the thing, like, I'd choose the coloured option. You know, it's all about, the why
and I'm wearing a yellow bra.
Excellent. You see, that's the thing, like, why am I going to buy a black bra when I can have a yellow one? It's just that it doesn't occur
Don't get me wrong, I have many black as well.
But I feel like if the colour option's there, there's no need for me to ever go to those neutral colours. They don't make me as happy as the vibrant colours. So
even your underwear is always colourful? That's an intimate question.
No, absolutely. I think I have like one beige bra because I did a photo shoot one time and they said to me I needed one, but I didn't have one. I actually dyed it with tea because I was like, well, I don't have one. I don't have a skin colour bra, so we have to dye it. But yeah, I mean, for some people, the underwear actually is where they can have the colour. If you are having to wear a uniform for work, if you are having to have strict rules, but no one's stopping you what you're wearing underneath, and that will still give you the energies.
I love that thing you said in one of the steps of your manifesto, which is the color doesn't have to actually be in you. It can be from inside out. It can be felt. You can feel the pink even if you are wearing navy, or you can feel the red, or you can feel the orange, whatever makes you feel more in tune.
Harness those like colour energies, definitely.
So it's that way to use colours as a muse. And I would like to finish this interview reading something really lovely that you brought here. Commit to living colourfully. We have one life, a unique, singular, one-of-a-kind existence that no one else will repeat. The choice we make, the people we connect with, the places we visit, and the memories we create become our most treasured personal possessions. So we should make them as satisfying as they can be. Color can help. So make them count, please.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much.
Thank
you so much
Carla.
for this conversation. It was really joyous.
And I loved your questions. I loved your observations and
thank
your
you.
own experience with colour. It's really interesting to hear your own. Really, and you know, you're clearly very in tune with colour yourself to notice these different
thank you.
things.
That
So
means a lot coming from an
wonderful.
expert, right? And I love that expression. I think it's you made it a chromatic, charismatic.
Oh,
I would like to be a chromatic, charismatic one day. Yeah.
I think you are already.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carl.
It was my pleasure. Absolutely pleasure to have
so
you.
Much.
In Metralla Rosa, by the way, Rosa means pink. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us this far. I hope you enjoyed that. And if that's the case, I would like to suggest you to enjoy the rest of our content. Also, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you can get notifications every time we share a new episode with all of you.